This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. Happy Friday. Here we are. This is the headline of In Touch Weekly tabloid magazine, and on the cover, we have Harry and Meghan, royal divorce bombshell. In this video, we're going to take a look at this cover story, and I'm going to give my opinion as to why I don't think either Harry or Meghan are behind it. Well, for starters, Meghan doesn't really have a relationship with In Touch Weekly, and we have seen in the past her go to Star magazine. It's not so often that we see In Touch even put them on as the cover story. We might see a corner here or there with Meghan or Harry, and every time we do see stories, they're not the most flattering of Meghan. In fact, when you look at the cover photo, it tells a story in itself. The photos that they chose of Meghan and Harry, on one hand, Meghan looks like she realizes she's in a lot of hot water. And then on the other hand, you have Harry looking like he is woken up and bitter about what he married. But in any case, take a listen and you decide. So let's dive into it. The rumors were rampant. In early July, news reports emerged in the UK press that shed new light on the state of Prince Harry's 6-year marriage to Meghan Markle. One royal expert shared that the couple have been struggling as they face setbacks with their new Hollywood careers. There's also a claim that Harry has grown regretful and bored with his difficult wife and hates that he never sees his old friends. Okay, so let me pause for a second. As we all know, the public has been fed so much propaganda about these two to a point where you can start to recognize where stories are coming from, as well as where these journalists are pulling their sources. So if we were to look back, and being that we know what is going on here, you realize that this person is taking information from the media and building the story around it. So like in this instance, I quickly picked up on the fact that the writer was referring to the various articles by the new Sussex mouthpiece, Tom Quinn. You almost have to wonder if it's only Harry that is the source for Tom Quinn giving him these stories. If Harry is truly fed up and disgusted with this woman, then these types of headlines would make sense, almost as if Harry is using the media as a cry for help. A royal historian and biographer further predicted that in the coming years, Harry will return to Britain permanently and alone. Harry himself only added fuel to the split rumors when, on July 4th, he posted a photo of himself and Meghan, and he wasn't wearing his wedding ring. Okay, so now this is sloppy journalism in which Harry never posted anything on July 4th. And the photo that you're seeing there was in the Netflix mockumentary. So you then start to realize that this writer is pulling stuff that's out there in the public domain without verifying it, all to create and beef up this narrative, whether it be false, yet to be determined. Tensions are indeed escalating. Multiple sources tell In Touch. In fact, it's worse than anyone knows. There's buzz among people close to the Sussexes that Harry and Meghan's marriage is hanging by a thread, says the source. The real story is insane. She was in tears when he took off the ring. If they were to announce a divorce, it would be a bombshell. It's shocking enough that the UK press is reporting on their growing rift. Now, I do think there is an element of truth to this. It might be a little bit more embellished to make it sound dramatic, but I do think Harry and Meghan are having difficulties. I mean, how could you not after all that we have seen go on? There has been a lot of discussion around this. On Lady C's July 18th broadcast, she talks about Harry's awakening and the wanting to come back to the UK. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you check it out. I'm going to link this episode in my description box, but she also discusses the tax situation and the financial problems that Harry might be running into if he does want to go back to the UK. Many of us watch Lady C and know that she comes to the table with credible and solid information. So I would trust what Lady C is saying over anything that In Touch is saying. And taking it a step further, it could be possible that In Touch is taking the juicy tea that Lady C is spilling and building a story around it. That's possible too. At the breaking point, 4.5 years after moving to Meghan's native California amid growing unhappiness with their role in the royal family, Harry, 39, and Meghan, 42, are struggling all right. They may soon find themselves reevaluating their relationship because of all the pressure, says the source. Almost every move they've made after leaving the royal family has blown up in their faces. I think the thing that's really annoying about all of these stories in general is that none of them seem to really address why everything has been blowing up in their faces. I mean, for starters, they kicked off with lying and attacking the family on Oprah. I think that was the biggest mistake that they could have made from the very beginning. And the joke about this is all this pressure that Harry and Meghan are facing. Well, they brought this on themselves. They came over here with, what, 30 million in their pocket? They could have lived a nice, comfortable, and quiet life away from the spotlight as they had claimed they wanted. But no, everything that they have virtue signaled over, they did the exact opposite. And people are not stupid. We see them as the biggest hypocrites and cannot trust them, cannot put faith into them, as everything that they do is so shady and so deceitful. In addition, they're not offering anything that people want because they're so unrelatable. So, who's to blame for all of this? Obviously, it's Harry and Meghan, but these two grown adults must have missed the day that actions have consequences was taught in school, because these two clearly don't seem to understand that concept and refuse to even self-reflect on any of their bad behavior or the things that they have done to other people as to why they get this backlash and are so universally disliked. King Charles III, 75, cut Harry off financially in 2020. Though they embarked on a well-received unofficial royal tour of Nigeria in May and have a movie and TV shows in the works at Netflix, the rom-com Meet Me at the Lake, an upcoming polo docuseries, and a show about cooking, gardening, entertaining, and friendship starring Meghan, there's speculation that their lucrative 5-year contract with the streamer will not be renewed when it ends next year. So far, at least one project has been scrapped, an animated series, Pearl. Their podcasting contract with Spotify abruptly ended last year. In December, their Archewell Fugazi public charity suffered an $11 million decline in contributions after its first year of operation. More bad news came in May. The Attorney General of California, Rob Bonta, issued a delinquency notice on behalf of the Registry of Charities and Fundraisers to the Archewell Fugazi Public Charity. According to court documents, the organization was listed as delinquent with the Registry of Charities and Fundraisers for failing to submit required annual reports and/or renewal fees. The foundation, Fugazi Public Charity, said in a statement, "We have diligently investigated the situation and can confirm that the Archewell Fugazi Public Charity remains fully compliant and in good standing." In my opinion, I think this charity situation is the real story. Obviously, magazines like In Touch Weekly is not going to touch it because not only is it complex to understand, but also I don't think the reader or the average reader of In Touch Weekly really cares. You know what I mean? They're there for the gossip, they're there for seeing fashion, but not much more. These kind of stories I would expect to see in like The Spectator or The Hill, maybe even The New Yorker. Sadly, we live in a time where media is so corrupted that we can't even count on the traditional media outlets like the New York Times to run a story like this because they're so biased and so, I want to say, paid for. Anyway, just my opinion. Harry still has his beloved Invictus Games. For the time being, we don't know how long that's going to last. Today, Invictus Games Foundation suffered a blow with the chief executive, Dominic Reed, stepping down. Now, we don't really know why he's stepping down, but Dominic Reed has been with Invictus from its inception and helped it get off the ground. This announcement comes fresh off the heels from this controversy over the Pat Tillman Award. And what we're seeing now is the Sussex PR machine in crisis mode, to where flooding the media with Prince Harry's emotional statement thanking Dominic Reed and making it sound like he's leaving on good terms. I mean, we don't know the full story, but I think there's more to this, in my opinion. He just celebrated the 10th anniversary of the international sporting event for wounded, ill, and injured soldiers and veterans. But in recent weeks, even that's become mired in drama after ESPN announced the British Army vet who served 2 tours in Afghanistan would be honored with the prestigious Pat Tillman Award for service at the ESPY Awards on July 11th. Backlash erupted. Pat's mother, Mary, said she was shocked that such a controversial and divisive individual was receiving the award named after her late son, an NFL star who gave up his gridiron glory and wealth to enlist in the U.S. Army. Harry and Meghan have all these advisors surrounding them, and you would think one of them would be paying attention to the public and the climate or temperature. It's mind-boggling to me that they're paying good money to people, professionals, allegedly, who are responsible for maintaining their image, their reputation, for seeing that they get the best publicity. And everything that this couple touches turns to shite. So it begs the question, one, are they just really that stubborn and don't want to listen to anyone? Or two, are the people around them just yesing them to death and telling them that all their ideas are amazing and that they should go with it? The thing that really baffles me is that none of it is working. So either you get rid of the team that you have in place because it's not working, or you start to recognize that maybe you should be listening to the professionals that you're paying to improve your brand. It doesn't make any kind of sense, but you see still the same people that hover around them, like that Ashley woman, as well as Marcus and all those other advisors dealing in all that shady shit. So it really begs the question, are they working against Harry and just saying, don't worry, trust us, things are going to work out while they siphon all their money? Or are they just really that incompetent and delusional as well? How could Harry not understand why people are outraged? How could he not understand or respect the mother's wishes? It just makes no sense. Meanwhile, public reaction to Meghan's latest project, the lifestyle brand American Riviera Orchard, which she announced this spring by gifting its gem to famous friends ahead of a fall launch, has been lukewarm. I think the writer was being too kind with Meghan on Arrow. This so-called soft launch of introducing American Riviera Orchard was a complete failure. Everything about this was just so low effort or no effort, with the high expectation that people were going to be salivating over a release of some product or just execution of a business, when Meghan herself didn't even have a CEO to run this whatever it is that she is launching here. She expects the public to fall over it because it's by the Duchess of Sussex and it's royal. And that kind of delusion, doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon, with all these articles that are now coming out saying that, the king sabotaged her launch and she doesn't understand why people are hating on her, and this fear that it's not going to be successful, not because it's a shitty product that she's putting out there, but it's because there are the so-called haters, and now Harry has to go off and sue people because of our opinions. The whole thing is so farcical. And when you look at this and you say to yourself, Meghan is supposed to be educated. She allegedly went to Northwestern and graduated. You wouldn't know it by the way that she behaves and runs things. Like, this is so piss poor that, like, even an uneducated person could do something a bit better if they were ambitious and had motivation. This shows zero motivation. This doesn't even qualify to be classified as mediocre. It's unimpressive and there's nothing special about it. It's failing not because the whole entire world is racist, it's failing because it just sucks. Meghan refuses to take responsibility for anything. She likes passing the buck, even going so far as to say Harry is to blame for everything, claims the source. He's always making excuses for Meghan, but he's getting tired of it. There's only so much he can take. Really? Harry's now coming to this revelation that Meghan doesn't take responsibility for anything? I mean, both of them behave in this manner. It's never their fault. It's always someone else's fault for why things didn't go the way that they expected it to go. Meghan and their children, Prince Archie and Princess Little Betty, have always come first. But Harry's world is very lonely. He's in that big house in Montecito, California with Meghan, and everything is going wrong, says the source. The pressure on him is unbelievable. Now, they talk about these phantom children. I do believe that there are children, and Lady C makes a point in her recent video to emphasize that it's Harry's kids. Never does she say it's their kids, it's Harry's kids. So make what you want of that. Now, it's my opinion, but I don't think that Meghan and Harry are living together, especially in that Olive Garden castle. I mean, that thing is just one big money pit. But looking at how they're framing this and trying to pull on our heartstrings, I'm sorry, but I just can't feel sorry for him now that he has all this pressure on him. Like, that's what living in the real world and having responsibility feels like. The crazy thing to me is that Meghan came from a world where she had to worry about money. Entering into the royal family, you hit the lotto. You never had to worry about money ever again in your life, and you chose to be greedy. Like, what an idiot. So, you know what? I don't feel sorry. I don't feel sorry that they have all this pressure on them because they could have chose a life to not have that pressure. So now you have it. Don't complain. Nobody wants to hear it and nobody cares. Harry is in an impossible position, says the source. He might want to return to the royal family, but Meghan won't want to go with him, and he's not going to leave his kids. They're the one bright spot in his life. These people that write this crap really think people are stupid. Like, what gives any impression that Harry makes these children a priority? Nobody ever sees these two invisible children with their mother or father, whoever they may be, and making sure that they are being nurtured. You have Meghan and Harry globetrotting all over the place, never bothering to bring them to experience the outdoors and get some fresh air. So why are we supposed to believe that he doesn't want to leave because of the children? Enough of this farce already. Somebody should go do a wellness check to get proof of life. I mean, it's getting ridiculous now. He doesn't want to lose them, but who knows if the royal family will even welcome him back. It will depend on Charles and Prince William, 42. According to the source, Harry has secretly approached his father and brother about coming home. He begged them. William shut the discussion down right away. Charles, though, doesn't want to lose his son. But if Charles dies, Harry may have no chance of ever returning. His legacy is in ruins. I completely agree with this last part. Of course, King Charles is going to allow Harry to come back, but under one condition, that this battle axe stays in America and will have no access or ever again in anyone's lifetime be around or in vicinity of this family. I also agree that when the time comes and William takes over, there will be zero chance for Harry to come back, even if it is without Meghan. I think William is done. He sees his brother as dead to him. He will not jeopardize the safety of his wife and his children ever again by putting these two in any vicinity or contact with them. Let me share my final thought on all of this. My opinion is I don't think Harry gives a shit or misses his family in the way that we traditionally would miss our family, because look at how he hurt his grandmother, look at what he allowed his wife to do. What I do think he misses is the safety and security of being covered by the palace. And when I say that is meaning getting away with shit and not being held accountable for. And what I think is happening here, the pressure that he's experiencing and feeling, is the pressure of things catching up with him. We have the Archewell Fugazi Public Charity and all this money being shifted around here and there, as well as the dodgy people that he chose to do business with and surround himself with. And let us not forget the undermining of the U.S. Constitution and interfering with our government, as well as funding and supporting an online terrorist militia that has been intimidating and harassing people online, including his sister-in-law. It's not a good look if law enforcement starts poking around, just saying. Anyhow, what do you guys think? Would Britain welcome this man back? Would you accept him back into society? Do you feel bad? Share your thoughts below. As always, I will be back with more content, but until then, please be safe and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
I was such a fraud.